Hello, welcome to our series of analysis of case studies from the Human Kinetics textbook. Today we'll be looking at gamer motives, consumption, and in-game advertising. I'm Joshua Tarafa, and I study at Loyola University of Chicago, and let's get into it. The study conducted had 190 responses collected. Every valid participant had played a full game of either Madden or NCAA football, both EA Sports video games. The total number of hours each participant played varied from anywhere from only 1 hour to 360 hours at the highest participant. Each sports video game allowed for the participant to play a game and then ask a certain type of question depending on the in-game advertising and part of the analysis that the study was trying to find information about. For example, a multiple choice question was asked for recognition based questioning to see if the participants could recognize brands that they saw. A list of brand categories was used for aided recall, in which a list of choices of brands was given to the participant, and they had a chance to pick from those brands in the list. Then there was also a fill in the blank option, which was unaided recall. They had to recall the brand that was featured in the sports video game without any aid. And then finally, there was also the rate or dislike option on a scale from 1 to 7 to then find out the overall brand attitude the participant held for each brand. The results from this study show that these are the highlights of the results that only 6% of gamers recognize every single brand in the video game through recognition questioning. It's a very low number. However, that's every single brand. The brand attitude scores were moderate to high for all brands except Sprint. So Sprint did not get even a moderate brand attitude. They were in the low category. And then Madden had unaided recall rates that were lower than the NCAA football game. But between both of the games, Pontiac was still the highest recalled brand with only 23% recognition. The highest recognition rate among any of the brands from either video game was Pontiac at 23%. So now let's get into the questions that the case study posed, and I can give you guys a little bit of my analysis of the case study. If you were a brand manager, would you use an in game advertisement to reach your target market? My answer would be in most situations, probably not. It must be a forced cutscene because, as we've seen, recognition is very low with these types of advertising. They discussed in the case study about virtual billboards, like billboards in the background of the game, not being very effective at all. So that would be a definite no if that was what the client wanted to do and I was trying to market in the video game. I would avoid virtual billboards. It would be a forced cut scene that forces the user to either watch the entire ad clip or can skip through it, but it is front and center on the screen. The target market would have to include heavy sports video game players, in my opinion, because in the study they examined players who had only played 1 hour and players that had played up to 360 hours. And with recognition rates so low, it would likely take a lot more than just 1 hour in those casual participants to recognize every single brand, with only 6% of the whole study being able to recognize all the brands. So to be worth it, my target market would have to be the heavy players and hope that that is enough return on investment. The second question asked is if I was the brand manager for the brands in NCAA football or Madden NFL at the time of the study, would I consider it a successful campaign? Again, I don't think so. Most cases, no. Pontiac, maybe it was a win for them. They had the highest recognition at 23%. And I think these companies and these brands know this going in, that their recognition has the expectations for recognition have to be tempered. And then there's also the factor of whether the return of investment and whether these consumers are recognizing the brand and then purchasing is actually occurring. So there's a lot of factors at play beyond just recognizing the brand, which would then make me feel unlikely to want to consider the success because so low recognition rates within the video game And then you're hoping that with those low recognition rates, the ones that did recognize actually make a purchase on with your brand after the fact. So that concludes our examination of this case study. Overall, again, I would think that these two video games are a prime example, and this study is one of the furthest studies in this area of research that shows that in game advertising, as far as sports video games go, has to be very specific and limited in its scope. Players are not recognizing the ads when the ad is not forced in front of their face for a specific period of time, and even then every brand is hard to remember with all the other factors going on within the video game and the competitive nature of these games. So my overall recommendation would be that they are not as successful as some of these companies would hope for. I hope you really enjoyed this examination in this case study, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.